to Deadscape Diaries, where nightmares aren't just told, they're documented. In this episode, we take a turn into the digital unknown. You know how the internet is filled with urban legends, lost files, cursed broadcasts, encrypted frequencies no one should ever have? But what if some of those stories were real? What if one solitary explorer, armed with a drone and an obsession for abandoned places, stumbled onto something the government buried and forgot, something that never stopped transmitting? Tonight's tale starts where most people would turn back, a ruined military relay site, hidden away in the cold shadows of Montana's wilderness. Our protagonist didn't just reach its gates, he breached something else. What he found wasn't just a place, it was a signal, a watcher, and it followed him home. Dim the lights, shut off your phone, and whatever you do, don't check your reflection during this story. Because if it starts watching you too, well, let's just hope the signal doesn't get a lock. This is The Signal Lost. I don't know why I'm writing this down. No one's going to believe it. Not really. If I hadn't lived through it myself, I'd call it a delusion, or grief, or madness. But it wasn't any of those. And something out there knows I made it out. For years I've been flying solo drones into remote wilderness zones, documenting abandoned radar outposts, derelict watchtower, collapsed ski lifts, that kind of thing. The kind of places time forgets. Some of my videos went viral, most didn't. But last month, I received a strange tip. Anonymous, no message, just coordinates, embedded in the metadata of a corrupted email attachment. Northern Montana, elevation over 8,000 feet, no marked trails nearby. They called it the Hollow Relay. I should have known better. I loaded my drone, packed a satellite uplink, and made the hike alone. The site wasn't listed on any survey records or topographic maps, but when I arrived it was definitely there, an old military comms relay, cradled in the saddle between two jagged peaks. The dish was fractured, black cables twisted like vines down the rusted tower. The doors of the control room hung half off, shredded like something had tried to crawl through. The air felt wrong, thin, electrical, like being inside a live wire. I set up near the base, launched my drone, and began my sweep. The relay's internal layout was strange, longer than it should have been, deeper than the mountain could have allowed. Tunnels that curved too sharply, corridors lit by flickering emergency bulbs powered by nothing I could trace. Still, the signal was solid, crystal clear, so I sent the drone deeper. That's when I started hearing the static. It wasn't coming from the drone, it came from my headset, soft, rhythmic bursts. Then came the whispering. I assumed it was feedback, cross-channel interference, something technical, but when I reviewed the captured audio later, none of it was there. The feed showed my drone dipping through a tunnel, at least 200 meters below the mountain surface, except there was no indication of a descent. No shift in barometric pressure, no incline. It was like gravity had changed direction when I wasn't looking. Then the camera picked up movement. At the edge of the feed, something slithered out of the frame, long, thin, segmented. I paused. The drone reversed, but the thing was gone. I should have brought it back, but curiosity is stronger than fear when you're behind a screen. I pushed on. The drone entered what looked like a broadcast chamber, an amphitheater of consoles and receivers, all completely gutted. There were cables growing from the walls like roots. At the center of the chamber was a figure, human-shaped, but wrong. It stood motionless in the middle of the room, skin ashen, stretched too tight across a body that didn't seem designed for it. The eyes were covered by glimmering black visor wires, threading into the skull like veins, and its arms hung limply, but they were long, too long. I counted the fingers. There were 12. The second the drone's camera focused on it, the figure twitched, not like it was waking up, like it had just noticed it was being watched. I started pulling the drone back, slow at first, trying not to panic, but then the static returned, louder, layered, beneath it a voice buzzing through. "Not your signal." The drone feed glitched, once, then again, then it froze. Then the camera turned around. I didn't do that. I swear I didn't touch the controls. The view swung 180 degrees and pointed directly at me. Not the drone. Me. There, on the monitor, was a live feed of my own face, sweaty, pale, eyes wide in horror. The feed was coming from inside the relay. I tore off my headset, heart thundering in my ears. Somewhere behind me, the door to the control room slammed shut. I ran. No packing up, no second thoughts. Just bolted down the trail, lungs burning, the thin air clawed at my throat. I didn't look back. For the next 2 days, I didn't touch my gear. Couldn't bring myself to even glance at the footage. But the drone was still transmitting. I checked the feed again, finally. It was still in the relay, still transmitting. But now, the drone wasn't moving. I was. Somehow the drone's camera was following me, through cities, alleys, parking garages, always behind me, always just out of sight. Even now, it's still live. I've tried disconnecting everything. No internet, no Bluetooth. I even shattered the drone, crushed the control unit, burned the remains. Didn't help. The feed's still active, still showing me from behind. The angle shifts slightly every time I move. I checked the metadata again yesterday. A new location was embedded in the code, my apartment. More specifically, my bedroom. And last night, just before I fell asleep, I heard it again through the wall. Bursts of static, followed by whispering. The same voice. Not your signal. This time it knew my voice. And tonight, I think it wants me to answer. That was signal lost. A descent, not into darkness, but into something much worse. A signal that sees, follows, and waits. Let this be a reminder that the things we leave buried, abandoned tech, experimental networks, places no longer on the map, they don't always stay quiet. Some transmissions never stop, and some watchers never blink. If you enjoyed tonight's story, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps keep the Deadscape Diaries alive. Subscribe for more stories where the unnatural bleeds into the real. And ring the bell so you're always the first to know when we dig up something unsettling. Got your own horror encounter? Drop it in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your signal clean. And whatever you do, if something calls your name from the static, don't answer. This is Deadscape Diaries, signing off. For now.